It's the time for the package from China. Let's go. Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So in this video we are going to take a close look at the Simpsons and Street of Rage number 2. So this is a hack game that I bought from our friend from China. I just wanted to see here on the channel what are we going to get with the shell quality. The shell quality is not that great. Damn it, they sent me the cheap versions again. I really like the thick plastic with the 2 screws. And the label itself is not that great over here, as you can see. It's more like a glossy version, but you're paying not a lot of money for it, so I think for the money we can't complain. The question remains, how good is this modification, this homebrew game? I'm very curious about this. Or is this just a tiny modification that they did with the game? Some of these homebrew games are very extended with a lot of new features, and some have just more like a basic character hack. So I'm very curious, stay tuned, consider subscribing, hit the bell, and let's go. So the first thing that they changed out is the intro itself. Released by Xandra Software, specially made in 2016. The last modified version was around September 2016, and so far I can find there is no new revision of this game. If this is the latest game, that is something I can't see because there is not a revision number in the menu. But what they did change out is the intro. Blah 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 blah, blah 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 blah. And they make the character yellow. They didn't change out a lot of things with the title screen, just added Simpsons edition, copyrighted 2016 by Xandra Software. Here we're having player 1, 2, dual options, and we're having in survival mode in this game. Okay, so let's choose player 1, and the first thing I did notice with this, that we're having quite some different characters. So what I do like about this game is that we're not going to get the 4 basic characters. They basically made a full modification on the unlocked edition of the Street of Rage 2 hack. So giving us the options to also play with some final boss characters and some different opponents that you're going to get in the game. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so the first character is Homer himself. And I must say that the rolling move is pretty cool. When you're throwing an enemy, you can see that it's more like glitching out and doesn't fit perfectly. But okay, yeah, that is what we're going to get with some of these hack games. But in general, the character plays very well and the speed is pretty decent. But it did a very nice job on picking up weapons. As you can see, it's holding the weapon perfectly and you can even throw it like the original game. So the character Marge has a completely new moveset, so you're not going to get with more like different skins and then we're having at the end the same movement. No, they did a very nice job with Marge having these crazy special move combos and even have the way to throw your enemies, and it looks slightly better than with Homer, but it looks pretty cool in my opinion. So with Lisa you can see the spring rope is basically the whip and she's using to whip all the naughty boys. And I really like this because, not because it's naughty, but it's more like very effective against the characters. As you can see, sometimes you can whip a lot of people at the same time. So beside the point, she's very fast in the game. She's very fun to play with simply because you can whip them all. So Bart is super fast, and I think it's similar like Skate with the original Street of Rage number 2. And you can hear some sound effects that they reused for the special move from Bart. But in the end, it's a really fun character to play with because he's fast and he has some awesome power moves like the dashing attack from the air when he's becoming Super Bart, or how you call him. Nevertheless, it's a fun projector to play with, and it's pretty cool and an awesome addition to the game. Because this is the hack edition, we can also play with the final bosses. So we can play with Mr. Burns. Pretty cool if you can play with the final boss, but it's not as great because it's a freaking horrible character. So as you can see, that's the only thing I can do. I can just punch, there is no jumping, there's no really big special combos. And the other thing, we have a special, we can pick up weapons like this, though we are stuck with the suit. We're having more like this machine gun, because this is of course the reskin of the final boss of Street of Rage 2 that had a machine gun, and also Mr. Burns has a machine gun in his suit. Pretty effective. As you can see, it's glitching out a little bit, but this is what you're going to get with Mr. Burns. It's a fun addition, but it's the other side and horrible character to play with. So Mr. Smithers is the other character they changed out. Normally we would have Shiva in the game, now having Smithers. And he's a little bit boring in my opinion. He has a couple of moves, but he doesn't have the same moveset like Bart and Homer and all the other characters that you can play with. So it's a quite boring character to play, a little bit overpowered, that makes it more fun to play. But at the end, yeah, he's going to get very boring like Mr. Burns. So the survival mode is a fun addition to this game. Sadly, I have this idea that the characters are pretty like zombies walking around. I found it not really challenging, but I just wanted to give you a quick look. As you can see, you can so far play it with 2 players, a lot of enemies, but they are not attacking, or maybe this is just the begin phase of the survival mode. I find it a fun addition to the game if the characters are going to be more active and trying to beat you up, because this is more like bashing some freaking dolls. But so far I know there are no ways to play with the original game characters. It's a little bit slightly disappointing. If so, that would be so cool. You can play or switch between the Simpsons versions and just play with all the original characters. Messing around with just these characters, like more like bosses where you can play with, is just so cool. So yeah, let me know in the comments what do you think of this game and of playing with the other characters that we couldn't do before. Alright, so this is what you're going to get with the Simpsons in Street of Rage number 2. What I really like about this game is that we're having all the characters unlocked. Sadly, you can't play with the original characters like Axel, so you're having now the Simpson characters. The final boss that you're normally having in the arcade game with the big robot suit, I don't like it. It's a little bit basic, but in general it's a fun collection. And I mean with the game itself. It's just fun to play, and it's completely new. So let me know in the comments what you think. Thank you for watching. Consider subscribing, play the bell, and I'll see you in the next video.